What's up, guys? Bobby Kicks back in the mix, coming to you live here with another live stream. Special guest is going to be Ray Horacek. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly, but he's going to be joining us pretty soon too. So, hopefully, you're all having a great weekend so far. It's the end of the weekend, so it's going to be a great start to the week, right, for this live. So, looking forward to this. Wait until everyone gets online. In the meantime, I'm going to put this on my tripod here, and let's see here, making sure everything's working correctly because I have some stuff here to make my video look somewhat good. So, all right, guys. So once again, we're coming to you live. What's up, Mario Restores? How you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in to this live. We're gonna have a really special guest, Ray. I see you that you just joined, so I will be inviting you pretty soon. I'm gonna wait until Goatee gets on this call. Justin Puma, thank you for joining me. I know you're gonna love this one because we're on the same page when it comes to all the things Puma, right? So we definitely encourage you guys to ask questions during this live, just to really, keep that engagement going. Goatee, I see you, so I'm going to send an invite, okay? And we can get this party started. All right, hold on one second here. Let me take my camera off the tripod here. 1 second. Do. You're looking behind the scenes here. Accept. Thank you again, Mario, for all your support, man. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, good, good. Happy Sunday to everyone. Good
Yes,
evening, good
sir.
afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching. Our special guest is actually going to be joining us live from Japan. So he's in the future and Monday morning. So this is our first time actually having a guest from Asia. So it's going to be a nice treat for us to really just explore more of the international scene. So it's really cool.
It's the intentions we set out. We wanted to just have tell stories and kick series internationally. That's since episode one. That was our intention. So it's good to see this come to fruition humbly. And Bobby, we in Puma world. This is a Puma. This is a Puma edition, man. I'm excited.
This is the Puma edition, so you're going to definitely learn a lot. Everyone that doesn't really, tap into or, kind of pay attention to Puma, there's a lot of history here. Ray, like I said before, he is a special guest. He's worked for the industry for several years as a sneaker designer. I see him on the chat right now, so I'm going to invite him in and we can get this party started. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all ears. This is gonna be a good education session for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are doing well. Crazy because we are almost the end of 2025. So this is a good way to continue to cap off an amazing 2025 for Kickstory Podcast. Hope you guys are well.
All right, Ray, if you're watching, I just sent you the invite. All you have to do is just click accept, and then you're online with us. Very straightforward. So let me make sure my phone's okay here. Hold on, because I have a second screen for my phone here. Make sure
Yep, yep,
everything's
yep.
good to go. All right, I don't want to mess this up. There you go. I'm looking good here, looking great. And everyone in the chat for me, really quick, if you can throw a thumbs up to make sure that you guys can hear us and see us okay. Just want to make sure everything is working out properly because sometimes I think it works well and then, for some reason doesn't look, the way I intended online. So if you can throw a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, Ray, I just sent you the invite. Let me know if you have any issues. You can also comment too. Let us know that if you're receiving these messages and these invitations to join this live too. So thank you, Justin.
Yep. Justin, what's up, brother? Bobby, I'm not gonna lie, the past like 2 days, I've been in deep like Puma world in terms of just like learning more about it, being a student, right? Because I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from Justin, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, kind of just like, all right, Puma, like seeing, because Puma I feel is like it get overshadowed, but Puma is so monumental in the sneaker culture, like so
It is.
monumental, you know?
Yeah, I would consider them one of the oldest sneaker athletic, performance, sneaker, companies out there. They were
Right.
really one of the first ones with Adi, with
Right.
the brother from Adidas and all them. So let me see where Ray's at. Okay, I see send a request. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, I just accepted Ray, so we should be going online right now in a second. I just accepted his invitation.
All
There it
right.
is. How you doing, Ray?
Hey
Doing all
guys,
right.
what's up? How you doing?
What's up,
Good
man?
morning. Or, it's almost lunchtime over there, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. Can you guys see me, hear me?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
Thumbs up.
Awesome. I turns out I was on Instagram on the the internet and the browser. Turns out you can't do live there, so I had to switch over.
Oh, got it.
Ah,
On
you
the
can't go
laptop.
live. That makes
Yeah, it said
sense.
request inappropriate.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a first. So now we know.
That's
Uh,
now we know.
But
But
I was just telling the crowd right now that we have a special guest. This is live. You're coming all the way from Japan. We're here in the U.S. in the States here. It's already 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time, so it's 11 o'clock over there, almost lunchtime in Japan. And
yep.
just really grateful to really get this chance to just share some Puma knowledge and get into this creative mind, man. Like your work is just beyond amazing. I'm a big fan of what you've been doing for Puma and excited to hear more about what you're doing in the future. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone, gives us a thumbs up to make sure everything, looks good and sounds good.
We're all
And if you
set.
can also, all right, we're all good. All right, great, great.
Hmm.
And Goatee, I'm sorry, did you want to add anything to it
No, no,
before we
no,
get
no,
started?
no. I'm ready to get the show. This is a Instagram live for me where I want to be more. I'm a student, right? I got a notepad here, right? And I just want to just learn because Ray Bobby has been talking about Puma since I've known him, right? And so it's really good for me to just be like a student, make notes down, specific models, and I just want to just be part of it. So there we are, Bobby.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for
Cool.
that. So, guys, once again, Ray, am I saying your last name correctly? Horacek?
It's we use Horacek. My cousins use Horacek. Traditional Czech one is Horacek, whatever.
Just want to make sure, I don't want to butcher any names. So, thank you for
Yeah,
that.
let's go with Horacek.
All right, sounds good. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, what you're currently doing, and the floor is yours, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, great to be here. Thanks for the invite, guys. Yeah. So I'm sitting here in Japan, outside of Tokyo. So I've been here. I'm now pretty deep into my career. I've been here in Japan for my entire career except for the first 6 months. So I came out of school in Rhode Island, went into Boston, into Reebok, and then jumped right over here 6 months into that. And then I was in over here in this thing called the Reebok Design Studio Tokyo, which is in Daikanyama, which is kind of just above Nakameguro. Kind of like near Harajuku and all the kind of sneaker kind of fashion areas and whatever. So
Right.
yeah, so I've been here ever since then. I moved over to Puma in let's see, it was '04, and then was in-house of the brand for 12 years till 16, and then I've been external kind of freelancer for the innovation team since then until including today.
Wow.
Wow.
One quick question. So, when it comes to Japan, before moving over there, did you actually visit there before? Were you familiar with Japan before you moved?
So from when I was young, like I was always obsessed with origami. That was just I was obsessed with a few things. I was always really into art and drawing and stuff like that. Always into like I grew up in nature and out in the middle of nowhere in Massachusetts, so I was really interested in anything to do with the natural world. And then for some reason, origami captured my attention when I was like around 9. And I started going to all these origami conventions, like in New York City every year for, I don't know, at least 7 or 8 years. And I was just obsessed with origami. I was designing origami stuff, and yeah, it turns out like that was this simple encapsulation of like a huge amount of what I have kind of discovered in the rest of my life, right? So there's art, there's design, and there's Japan, there's details, and there's expressivity, right? All in one, kind of world of origami. And it just kind of everybody that I've met over here in Japan, all of the non-Japanese, the foreigners who have moved here, everybody has their door in. Some of them is karate, some of them is the language, some of them is the food, whatever it is. Mine is origami. So that's kind of where that started. And to answer your question, no, I had never been here. I had always kind of felt in some ways like I should be here. It's kind of a weird, sometimes you just feel something. I'm not going to say I felt Japanese. I don't want to insult Japanese people, but I just felt like you know, there's something about this country and this culture that it was just a very kind of, I don't know. It just felt very close to me in a really weird way,
Yeah.
even though it's extremely far away. So yeah, to
Wow.
answer your question, I had never been here, and I just, as soon as I got the offer to come over here, I got in a plane 3 days later, and I never came back.
You
It's
know
like
what's
that,
funny?
it's like that
Go
manifestation,
ahead.
right? It's like that, you saw that origami and it kind of led into other things. I'm sorry, go ahead, T, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just saying quickly. I remember having a phase because I love details, and I remember when I was a kid, I used to have a little like phase of origami, right, as
Oh, cool,
well. And then now
nice.
that you're saying that, I'm like, okay, that makes sense that I love details because with origami, there's angles, there's precision, there's art, and so I can see how a sneaker designer, shoe designer, or a designer in general could really have that pathway origami, right, as your journey. And I just thought that was cool. Just a tidbit. I just thought it was cool. It makes sense.
Very, very cool.
Hmm.
So growing up in Massachusetts, in nature, you're getting familiar with all things nature, kind of growing up, seeing what you're into. You came across origami, and then I kind of, there was a hidden message in there, right? Years later, that your path is going to be in Japan somehow, which is awesome. So how did
Yeah.
you actually, where did you study? How did you get into design? Where did you discover your talents?
Yeah, I mean, I think like most footwear designers, I think the most common path is industrial design, product design. So that's kind of the path I went. It's not the kind of thing that, when you're little that people say, "What do you want to be?" I want to be an industrial designer. It's kind of, I didn't find out about that until I was like just about applying to colleges actually. So I was always kind of, when you're little, they say, "What do you want to be?" I wanted to be an artist or a ski instructor, and then I tried that when I was like 16. And I didn't like it, so
Wow.
went the artist way.
Yeah.
But luckily, a friend of mine, one of my best friends in high school's dad, was an industrial designer, designing for Spalding, the golf clubs and golf balls and stuff,
Wow.
Yep.
out in Western Mass. And so he basically showed me his stuff, and he's like, "What about this?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's it." Because I was applying for engineering schools, but I was like, "But I really want to do art." And turns out, like, there's something in between. So that's kind of how I got into that. In terms of footwear, I honestly 100% fell into it. I'm not originally a sneakerhead, a sneaker person, like a footwear person. Like in college, I had like one pair of like, the cheapest New Balance all black, who knows what running shoe that I bought used in like a Salvation Army, and I wore that and another pair of kind of like fake crappy brogue shoes that I bought in the Salvation Army, and I wore those through college. Like I had no interest in shoes at all. It's so weird. So I
Wow.
just kind of fell into sneakers. I originally wanted to be a character designer, game designer, something in that world.
Yep.
And so I just kind of, because sometimes you try to break down doors and they don't break down, but sometimes doors just kind of fall open in front of you. So
Yep.
I have gone through the doors that have fallen open in front of me, maybe,
Yep.
as you say, with some manifestation towards the Japan side of things. But yeah,
Yep.
so just turns out all that kind of character stuff, I've just ended up making shoes that somehow probably have some kind of character, element, and atmosphere to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
I was gonna say, I don't know, Gochi, I don't know if you're noticing this, but a lot of the designers that we've talked to kind of stumble on footwear design.
Yep.
They come from an industrial designer, a
Right.
background. They kind of stumble into this, so it's kind of really interesting to hear like this commonality between like these different designers that we've talked to too. So that's
Right.
that's really interesting to connect those dots.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Reebok. You was in Reebok for under a year, correct? 6 months.
Well, exactly 2 years to the day,
Okay.
technically.
Oh,
And then, but I was only in the headquarters for 6 months in Boston,
Okay.
and then I was over here in Tokyo.
What did you do at Reebok, and what type of imprints of specific silhouettes at Reebok that you had your hands in?
To be honest with you, like, being young, right out of school, whatever, they don't give you like the highest end, kind of
Right,
like deepest innovation stuff. So I was doing
right,
just price point, $50, fitness shoes, and $50, copy this company's shoes and this kind of stuff. And then that was for the first 6 months, but then I got brought over here to Tokyo. There's this really great designer called Josh Frazier. He was like longtime Reebok designer. Now he's at Saucony. He was at Puma in between there. So he kind of, saw that I had some, affinity for Japan and interest and whatever. And so he was already over here, and they had a design studio. They brought me over here. He brought me over here, and then immediately was put into, the first like week I got here, I was in meetings with, like Homeo-san from Atmos and like, I mean, the guy who made Atmos and Chapter and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next day was with, Yo Kitadate from T6M. And then the next day was Mita Sneakers. And it was like suddenly I was just thrown into the Tokyo sneaker scene, like the deep, deep, deep part of it. And
Wow.
then, yeah, we were doing mostly color material versions, like kind of special editions in
Mm-hmm.
Japan at that point. So at that time, there was a collection called the SWAT collection, the Reebok SWAT collection, which was like only sold in Atmos and T6M, and that was like super limited. I guess most people don't know about it. It was like 150 pairs, like per colorway. It was like super super limited. And we
Wow.
had JPE Japan and Premier Edition kind of stuff. It was just, yeah, same thing, kind of real, just limited, special for Japan. I did touch a little bit of the collab stuff. I think I touched one like Jay-Z S Carter shoe, just kind of putting some, some like record needle graphics on a heel and that kind of stuff. But not a heck of a lot of like big stuff over at Reebok. Just really cool to be in the Tokyo scene though, and I got pretty deep into that pretty quickly, and then that definitely helped me as I kind of moved over into Puma.
Good
One
stuff.
quick thing I'm noticing, so this is like early 2000s, right? So this is S Carter, this is a lot of that Reebok collab, and
G
at the
Unit.
same time, G Unit in Japan was doing a lot of stuff that was kind of like under the radar here in the States, right? And this is where I started getting my attention on Puma more and more, because this is the time when I started going into the brand. Because like I told you before in our prep call, I kind of left like Nike and Jordan behind, because Jordan retired. He was my guy, and then I was like, I kind of lost my interest in basketball. So I was trying to find another brand I can associate myself with, right? And I was in art school. I was studying graphic design. That's what I do now. And Puma was so artistic, was so like it was all fluid. It was very fluid. It was street, it was a little bit of art, it was lifestyle and performance. And I was like, wow, Puma has a lot of stuff. And then I went down to that rabbit hole. And then so I started discovering things that I'm sure you've already, were working on, maybe like 96 Hours, Black Label, Maharas, Philip Stark, all these different things. Can you walk us through that transition from Reebok into Puma, and what were the first things that you were doing around that time?
Yeah, sure. So I joined Puma in 2004, which was like, turns out it was a very good time. There was
Yeah.
some sort of like, I don't know, destiny, I think, because I had applied for a Puma internship in college and got accepted and couldn't make it because I didn't have a car to go out to the headquarters out in outside of Boston. And
Wow.
then went through that Reebok thing and then came over to Puma. Just happened to find they were looking for a designer over here in Japan at the time, and then got thrown directly into the kind of lifestyle team, which was that time based in Boston in
Yeah.
the design center. So it was like at that time it was a young brand. I mean, not young actually, but it felt very young because the brand was kind of like not doing well, right? So Reebok had come up, Nike had come up, Adidas and Puma had kind of slumped, and so Puma was in a not great space, but then a couple of years before they had started to kind of like bubble up because they didn't care because they had nothing to lose, and so they kept really just trying like really strange weird stuff, right? So like in the late 90s, sorry, so you had like the Mastro was designed by Peter Schmidt. It was kind of designed by Peter Schmidt and actually also by Brad Lacey. So Brad Lacey, who's I think he's right now at New Balance. Um, he
Wow.
also was the guy who started the whole Black Station office from a design set in London. All the Neil Baron 96 Hours and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so
Wow.
the Mastro was kind of like this weird, so Peter had done this really wild sketch and then Brad kind of took it and made it into something a little bit more commercial. And when that came out, it was just some ridiculous thing nobody really knew about. But after a couple of years, they let it bubble. And then it kind of just started taking off and taking over. And then in my opinion, footwear was never the same after the Mastro in terms of
Wow.
historical turning points. I mean, there's certain ones in footwear, that's one of them. And after that, then it was just like the door was open, and then people were like looking to Puma for, hey, what risk are you going to take next? What next, what other kind of
Ah.
statement are you going to come up with? Like, where
Ah,
else
that's
are you guys going to go?
interesting.
And then it just went like the floodgates opened, and luckily all the stars aligned, so all the right people were in the right place at the right time with the right momentum, and the right kind of avenues and stuff. So there was a brilliant guy called Gavin Ivester. He was the head of footwear, And so he originally came from Apple. I think he did the first Newton, which of course was way ahead of his
Wow.
time. He was then at Nike,
Wow.
kind of. I don't know exactly what he did there. Then he came to Puma, and he started building this like team. The CEO at the time was Jochen Zeitz, and he was he was I think, the youngest CEO ever in Germany's history of a major company. And so he was just kind of like, hey, yeah, let's just like, like dump over the table and see what happens, basically. And the whole company from there was the same mentality. You had this guy named Phil Russo who built the core design team, which is based in Boston, which was like the kind of the lifestyle sports lifestyle team. And then you just had like they just hired, they didn't have any money, but they just hired all these really kind of young, kind of wild, weird people right out of college, basically. And I remember
Yeah.
we used to joke it was like the United Colors of Benetton, like in Boston, it was like there was like one person from every country you could imagine, and it was just really cool, like kind of mix and all that kind of stuff mixed up. It started from the New York office. They had a New York design studio, and then they shifted up to Boston and kind of expanded. And I was kind of like a remote part of that team. So I kind of came in for a few months at the beginning to kind of be part of the team and get assimilated. And then I went back to Japan and just kind of started, finding kind of weird Japanese stuff to play around
Yes.
with. And
Can I see that? Can I see that soul real quick? Okay,
there's that.
so something like that, right? We did a Puma episode, and Bobby, he bought like a nice little mix. Look at that, like the Puma soul, like is just like that's just no other brand was even thinking of doing something like that.
For sure. For sure.
Unbelievable. What was that model called? What was that model called?
Oh, this one never came out. This was called the Deba, but this got dropped as many things. And I know, Goti, you said you were curious about seeing process and failures.
Yeah.
So that's one good thing about taking risks is that a lot of things don't make it. And so I was always careful to get samples of things that were dropped. So I have some things that survived, and like this shoe called the Mikoshi, which is
Oh,
people have seen around. Probably the black
yes.
the black canvas one is probably a little bit more
Oh my gosh.
out there.
I'm nerding
This was
out right now.
inspired by
I'm, yeah, I'm telling you. And what year was this? What year was this? This
this
design
is
here?
'05, I think.
See, there you go. See, you're proving
Yeah,
my point. And I'm going to emphasize one more time, guys. If you guys are
inside the
watching
sole.
this, yes,
What?
thank you
Look,
very much. Yeah.
that's
See, that, yeah.
crazy.
And one thing I want to
Wow.
emphasize as you're looking at this, guys, online, Puma was really crazy in a very creative way. During that time, they had some really spectacular, like unique stuff that really blew everyone's mind. Look at that. That that's
Whoa.
that's very Japanese influence. I could see the Japanese
Yeah,
influence
yeah,
right away. It's very digital too. It looks very almost like binary, like ones and zeros
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
this
all so
came
so
from
all
like
these
these kind
models
of
which you're showing us
traditional.
never came out.
No, no. Well, this one was a what was called a list program. So it was 500 pair per style on the list, and so this was made in Japan. This came out under the list program. This was the inline version. So this is called the Niwa. This is called the Sono, and this came out like 2,000 pairs globally. And
Wow.
then this was the list version, which was this isn't even a final sample. Doesn't even have the embroidery. We had some kind of kimono embroidery logo up here and stuff.
Love it. Love
But
it.
like they're basically the same, but like the Niwa, the limited one has an extra rubber
Yeah.
step there, more extreme. And then this was made in
What?
Japan, so like the materials were nicer and it's like really you can see like it's a bit more well made.
So
So
what's beautiful
actually,
about that
speaking of
design,
list, what's that?
I'm sorry, I was gonna say one thing. What's beautiful about that design, it incorporates traditional Japanese influences with modern design, and it's embraced. It's like it's put together, it's fused really well put together. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, cool.
Question for you. So during this time, this because the Mastro was kind of like the blueprint for creativity, right? We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go. The CEO was for it. He had the open mindset. My question to you is, what was the demographics? And I asked you this question because I've noticed as I've gotten older and around that time that Pumas, Mastros was very popular in Europe, and it was not so much. So was that like intentionally that we just went, geographically, we're going to try to push this model for specific areas? Was it like that?
No, not at all. Like we honestly, there was no. I hate to say this, but there was very little consideration of the consumer. It was
Wow.
really, which is it sounds so funny because that's kind of what drives almost all decisions in footwear everywhere. But honestly, I think that's why we were able to kind of make such like ridiculous, kind of design driven stuff. It was like 100% design driven company. Like after a couple of years. I mean, the people I just mentioned, like Gavin, head of footwear, he's designer. Like one of the head of production was an industrial designer. Like it was just we had a lot of the PLMs, the product line managers, were kind of design background and stuff. Yeah, I think it was just um, after the Mostro and a couple of the other guys, including the like Speedcat and stuff, like hit, it became very clear that whatever at that time, whatever we felt was right, and whatever got us excited, whatever got our juices flowing, blood going, whatever you want to say, was resonating with the consumer. So it's kind of I heard recently Rick Rubin talks about this kind of stuff sometimes. Like don't worry about the consumer. Like focus on making stuff for yourself first, and then someone, if you like it that much, someone else will like it. Again, I heard that recently, but that kind of described what it was like back then. We didn't really honestly have. I don't want to say we weren't interested in the consumer, because of course, you're always interested in the consumer, but that wasn't the point. The point was like we were like making something new that was exciting to us, and then people, it just resonated, and that was that was the blueprint that the Mostro made. The Mostro itself as a silhouette was not a blueprint. The way that kind of reacted in the
The
market, and the
mentality.
way exactly, and that we just took that and just
Ah.
expanded.
And one thing I want to show off as you're talking about the Mastro is I just recently bought a retro pair because they recently came out again. So I bought
Yeah, awesome,
my my wild purple one here, and
nice,
so I had this original model in the white and black with the perforations, and the
yeah,
all
yeah.
black one, all black leather. So I still have them, but this is the model, guys, so that we can get a visual of the Mastros, what really kind of push the envelope. So I've seen the new editions of this with ASAP Rocky did a collab with this. So he created like this slip on. It looks more like a reptile, like a raptor's foot. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really wild, man. It's really wild to see. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually done a collaboration with this guy named Ping, who's the Live Form is the brand, like 3D printed kind of stuff. Really talented designer. So he and Danny and Taylor inside of Puma kind of did that together. The 3D printed Mostro. It's one of my favorite things that's come out in footwear in years. Definitely my favorite Puma shoe in years.
3D
Wow.
printing, 3D printing really opened up the doors to really create almost anything now, right? I mean,
Right.
Yep.
it's just crazy how it's sped up the process of like, from thought to now, an actual concept and a physical
Right.
prototype, which is
Yep.
pretty amazing.
Right. What was some of your favorite models projects, I should say, to work on? And if you have examples of them, they have the physical. What were some of the ones that kind of resonated with you in terms of in that creativity hub that Puma was creating?
Sure, yeah. So at that time, like because I was sitting in Japan and I went to those guys in Boston and they were like, yeah, hey, Japan is cool, right? Everybody at that time especially, like, we all grew up with, Nintendo and everything else, so anime and manga and whatever. So I think everybody was like, yeah, what's going on in Japan? And at that time the internet was not like it is now, so it was kind of harder to find information or whatever. So they were like, just go around, it could be in street, could be in nature, could be in culture, whatever it is, just find inspiration and make some stuff, is basically was the brief. And so I just started doing that. And so like the ones I just showed you, so this was inspired by like the jikatabi, which is the traditional like footwear that's used in like festivals, the
Oh,
split toe. You guys have probably seen
yeah.
that before.
Yes.
And so you have
Yes.
like kind of repeated quilted stitching, and you got the gum rubber outsole and some of this kind of
Yes.
ribbing here, right? So like I took that and I was just like, well, they need more cushioning because they're jumping up and down with these heavy shrines on their shoulders. So I was like, well, let's do the same thing. So there's these same repeated kind of bar elements. But then for some reason I had never seen lotus root. It's called renkon. It's kind of a food that you eat, and it has these kind of organic shapes, like when you cut it open. So I was like, well, just being young and like, why not, right? So the foreigner, the Japanese people are probably like, what the heck is this guy doing? But
Yeah.
So yeah, so the same thing. You get all the stitching. It's just kind of comes from the original. And the one I just showed you here, like the Niwan Sono, this one here. So this one comes. This isn't the best example, but this is kind of one of the kind of Geta-ish kind
Wow.
of traditional shoes that has that
Yeah.
kind of silhouette, right? So that's kind of where those things come from. There was a shoe. Let's see. There was a couple of shoes that at that time didn't come out from that whole exploration, which are kind of fun. So let's see where'd it go. I got too many shoes here, guys.
I
Well,
love it.
actually, let's start with the ones that did come out. Sorry. So
Bobby,
we'll
Okay.
Bobby, I'm absolutely loving this, Bobby.
No,
Absolutely loving this.
I'm glad you're seeing this because I've been talking about this. Like the
You
crazy
have.
designs, it's
You
not new.
have.
Like it's existed.
Ooh.
so these did come out. So this was called the Utori. So this had a similar kind of like kimono inspired like
Wow.
upper here.
That leather
Had
is great.
also a similar kind of Geta inspired sole like this. These are all the old samples they used to cut the holes for customs. We did a list again, the 500 pair limited list version. So this was the Utori kimono. So
Wow.
like I went to like these used like clothing shops and like Harajuku and stuff, and I bought a whole bunch of used kimonos, and then we marked them and we split them so every single pair has a unique combination of two kimonos, and it was one for every
Wow.
pair. And we had
Wow.
to like list every single one. And what's that?
Handmade.
Well, I mean, in the factory, yeah. I mean, the
Oh, the fabric
kimonos
got
were, yeah, it's yeah, just beautiful kimono fabric. So like, there's like a whole bunch of different ones, and each one was kind of unique.
I love
So that was
this.
all in the list program too, which was kind of fun. Actually, speaking of the list, I think Bobby, you'll appreciate this one. So I didn't design this. This is one of my favorite shoes ever. This is called the Satori. So this was designed
Satori.
by,
I
and I
love
know Bobby, you said you
my
had some of
God.
these.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
hold those up
this was
for me,
designed by
please.
Michael Schaefer. Yeah, yeah, go for it, Bobby.
Is that
So,
is
so
that like a four?
There you
Oh,
go.
it's the same thing. Ah.
And I think Bobby, you
so
might know this one. This is the list version. This is the pony fur.
oh my gosh, man,
Yeah. So
that
this was
is
only
super
500 pairs, but
rare.
I've seen these things for thousands of dollars somewhere online.
Yes.
What
Yes.
what
Yes.
what what year? What year is this? What year is that?
I want to say '04,
Oh four.
Yes.
maybe
Okay.
'03, something like that.
I
Because
had three
this one
pairs.
was this was the follow up to that. The Utori was the follow up to that, and then these were kind of weird side follow ups.
Yes.
Wow. So
A
so
quick side
go
note.
ahead, Bobby. Go ahead,
A
Bobby.
quick side note. So I had three pairs of these. Okay, I had this is my sister's pair, by the way. She, I got her these actually when I found them again. I was like, I gotta buy her those. And I sold my all black. It was a black interior and an all white with the gray, accents. And then I had a
Yep.
woven one that was checkered, black and white checkered woven.
Oh,
It was
nice,
small
nice.
checkers, super rare. I didn't ever seen them anywhere. And I was moving and I got rid of a bunch of stuff, and those are the three pairs I got rid of. But seeing that pony hair one,
Woo! Question,
that's yeah,
question. All right, so we're talking '04,
Yep.
okay, and we're looking at other brands. They're they're hitting on lifestyle, but they're relying on the athletic side of the brand. The Nike, the Reebok, Adidas. You guys kind of like, you know what? We're gonna stay in our lane of just creativity. So you guys weren't necessarily concerned around this era of like athletics and technology. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely, yeah. So at that time, the market honestly was a bit similar to what it is right now. I mean, things move in 20-year cycles, right? So right now, there's a lot of focus on technology and performance, and there's a lot of focus on kind of like looking back to the past, right? In the kind of current market. At that time, it was the same, and so it was just kind of waiting for something new, as it is, honestly, kind of right now. And at that time, what was new that we discovered, not me, I mean, the brand before I got there discovered was that fashion and athletic footwear had never been put together actually properly. Right now,
yeah,
it seems kind of like silly to say because it's so like it's such a massive part of all of footwear that you don't think
Right.
about it. But that started in 1998 with a fashion designer called Jill Sander, and she took the Puma King football boot, soccer boot, and put it onto a runway, on a fashion runway. And then that was the first time when sports and fashion had collided. And then it was like this big thing, and people were
wow,
like, what the, and then from there, they're like, wait a second, fashion and sports, there's a lot more here than you might think. There had been Prada Sport and a couple other things like that where like there was a lot of heavy sport inspiration into like a fashion brand, but there had never been like the opposite direction where it was like pure fashion thinking and approach into like a sports brand. And so like you guys mentioned the Mihara the collaboration Puma by Mihara Yasuhiro. So like that started I think in 2000, was a huge kind of part of that. So that was the first actual uh, collaboration in that way. So there had been before, they stuck a logo on the heel or something, just kind of basic collaborations. But that was the
Yeah.
first time where a big brand had worked with a fashion designer and say, hey, we're going to make a fashion, sports. We used to call it sports fashion. And then the kind of more consumer level was sports lifestyle, which now is simplified to sports style.
Wow. But
And then
and
from
so
there,
I
it was Neil Barrett. It was 96 Hours. It was like Hussein
yes.
Chalayan. It was Philip Stark. It was Alexander McQueen. It just kept going.
Alexander McQueen, that's right. That's right. That
Yeah.
was such an awesome line. That was the first time I actually started paying attention to luxury, brands. Because before I never wasn't really into that. I was just I knew like the basic brands like Nike, Puma, and all that. But when I started hearing Philip Stark and Alexander McQueen, I was like, what is this? There's another side to the footwear game, and Puma introduced me to all that. So you
Mm.
mentioned O'Hara. Did you ever meet him? Did you ever work with him?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw him a couple weeks ago. I mean, like I worked with him from the MY24 up until like it expanded. So
Oh wow.
the first shoes I started touching were the MY 24, 25, 26, 27. And then I was kind of his shadow designer from there up until somewhere around the 60s, where then I started to get a team. And so my team all did the stuff with him. And so then that was around 2012. So the kind of early stuff, like the MY7, this kind of stuff, I didn't touch. Like this,
Yes,
I luckily
I have the
have a
earlier
sample of it.
models.
You guys
Yep.
know this one, the egg heel. Yeah,
Wow.
and this was the bring back, where they started to put the "Don't Take Me Off" kind of stuff on here. This was kind of the reissue.
Ah.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still seen its wear, as you can see here, showing how much I wore this. I mean, this is the most wearable shoe that you can imagine for me. It's
Wow.
just so, and even in the silver, it matches everything.
Yeah. It's
This is
such a loud
before I
shoe,
got
but
there.
it's so bad. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for me, it's
Wow.
the perfect balance of like wild and weird, and also super wearable. And that's kind of Mihara-san's, formula, right? So something that's like super easy to wear, but then on the shelf, it's like, what the heck is going on there? Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I
Bobby,
love about his design
Bobby?
aesthetic. Uh-huh. Go
What's
ahead.
you
Go ahead.
have that similar hill? What was the name of that? Because you showed me that. What was that?
Right. I don't know what the exact name is, but it was part of the My series. They were the earlier numbers. It wasn't the later
Got
numbers.
you. Got you.
So it sounds to me like Ray was not involved in the earlier models, but more in the later models. But that we did an episode, and I was showing Go-To for the first time on the set some of my Mahara models, and he was like, what am I looking at here? Like, there's so much going on here. But it's done in a very classy way. So I love that you brought that out. It's great. I thought I had a pair with me right here, but I don't. But
No.
that's fine.
I was just looking at what I might have. I honestly can't never remember all the numbers. This was from spring 12. This was the Olympics.
Yes.
So I just had this one
Whoa.
sitting here, so I thought I'd show this one. This is when the team started expanding. So we had on his side, he had this designer named Ino-san, who now made a brand called Doublet, which is doing really well. So he was working on the Mihara-san side, and I had on my team, we had Naomi Hiyama and Tatsuro Ushiyama on the footwear side, and then we had some apparel guys and accessories guys doing all this kind of stuff. So like this is kind of when we started, like it was more of a collaboration, like really like just like
Yeah.
all just mixing up all these different things. And at that time, like some of my favorites were, I would say this one is probably of the ones I did my favorite. So this is
Oh.
basically, it was inspired by cycling shoes. We found this cool material that's 3M reflective. So if you take a photograph of this, it's pure white.
There
It's
you
just pure reflective, but it's also stretchy. So you can
Wait.
also make
So
it slip on, and it's molded.
that's mimicking shoelaces, but those are not shoelaces.
No, it's all molded.
Oh,
All the
go.
details, all the stitches,
And it's
everything. So
all 3M.
and this came from Mihara. He did the MY14, which is kind of like a similar thing, like heat cuts on a mesh thing. That was kind of one of his things with, of course, the digital cat kind of outsole that
Digital cat. That's
turned
what
this
you
into
saw, the
kind of more
little
of a grip thing.
figurines. Yeah, the little heads.
you told me that, Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's his design signature. Yeah, that's such an awesome
his
thing. Yeah.
outsole always had that. Yeah,
One
and
thing I wanted to show you,
there's his
Ray.
version here.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to show you, Ray, is so you're saying Mahara, 96 hours, all that was the fusion between performance and fashion, right? Performance and fashion. And then I started noticing that Puma, the regular sports lifestyle models, started coming out with some Mahara inspired ones like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's
So,
the 5100 meter, I think, designed by Phil Russo. It was basically, so there was an evolution line. So that was in the evolution line. So evolution was taking something from the past and then doing some twist. We used to always say the Puma twist, what is like the thing that's kind of like just like a ridiculous kind of like change to it. So that one had like those spikes around the forefoot and
wow.
the original model from the 70s, and then Phil just basically took it and just went wild around the toe.
So there you go, man. When I see this stuff, I'm so happy I just kept this, man. Like, now I know the story behind it, because it's like I was like, what are they trying to do here? Because I thought it was like a blowfish type of idea, you know?
Feels like it, yes.
That feels like it, right?
And actually,
But
Bobby, so that's a shoe from the footwear design team at that time. Also a brilliant designer in his own right. He's now, I can't remember, he's vice president of one of the brands. He's very, very successful guy. So he did a couple other shoes. So he did the Red Planet Trail, which I know you had a pair of those. It's
oh,
kind of the
that's right. Yeah,
Mostro, but kind of the more like slightly more techie kind of. Yeah, that one, the Red Planet Trail. Yeah, so that was also Phil. So that was, you can see it's kind of Mostro,
Yeah.
cousin, but it had its own kind of DNA. He also did the uke, which kind of invented this kind of category or space of like martial arts inspired shoes. I don't have that shoe. It was this sole. I happen to have done a new upper
whoa,
on that one, but you might recognize roughly this world. This was kind of like a second version of that one. So that was
wow.
also like Phil Russo. Yeah, really great designer.
That's awesome. I mean, this one right here, you know what it reminds me of today? It's like Mad Max.
Yeah,
It's
well,
very it's very Mad.
it was inspired by like if they went to Mars, like what kind of footwear would they need? That was the concept.
There
That's
you
why Red
go.
Planet Trail. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
See, there you
Let's
go, man.
let's
Like who's thinking of that, you know?
right. I love and Roman. Thank you for commenting. Justin Puma. Anyone else that want to comment and ask questions, please notate in the comment section. We'll definitely read it. Roman said he just posted. I got the soccer shoes by Puma made special for Diego Maradona called Puma King in 1986.
Those Kings are awesome. Those
Absolutely.
are,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the shoe that you mentioned, Ray, right? That was the first one on the fashion runway. That's what really like
Yes.
opened up the doors to do all this stuff. So that's a great model to keep, man. That's a good one.
Yeah. So
Maradona,
like
yeah, yeah.
Pele and Maradona were like the two big ones from the past, the two big like soccer stars. Yeah, and so that like that King shoe, they took off the spike sole and they put on a running sole. They threw it on the runway, and then it became this huge thing. And then of course it sold to the public big time
Wow.
too.
That's wild.
Wow.
I did want to show you real quick, Ray. So
What you got, Bobby?
that's my sister's one. I saw this in a picture.
Nice.
You have this in a picture. In one of your
Yeah.
pictures on your post, you have the exact same color.
Yeah. They had some of
Yeah,
the old. Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So I was like, wow, my sister has this. I bought this one for my sister 2 years ago too. So I'm just glad
Nice.
she held
Wow.
on to this stuff.
Yeah. That's Phil Russo's design right there. I was going to show you guys a couple other. So here, just speaking, we're almost on the Mihara topic. So this was another one of the ones I did. This was the MY64. So this was kind of coming off of the Puma RS 100 shoe. So
RS,
it's
yep.
kind of a running shoe from the 80s,
Yes.
which that's where all these shapes come from. But basically, this season we had a theme of pirates. So at that time, Puma was really into the ocean race, the Volvo ocean race, whatever it was,
Okay.
kind of like sponsoring that and bringing kind of like, performance sailing shoe kind of stuff into lifestyle. Because first Puma did that with motorsport, and then Puma did that with golf, and then Puma's doing that with soccer. And then so every sport, they were like transferring the sport into lifestyle. And so like the main, company, one of the big things was the sailing. So we said, okay, for Mihara, our theme was pirates at that season. So like this season, everything was kind of inspired by pirates. So it's all like, functional stuff for like, water and rain and all this kind of stuff, but then it
Wow.
done in a very kind of, small middle finger kind of a way. But this was kind of a like a herringbone, like a traditional kind of
Yeah.
menswear
Looks good. I
herringbone,
like
and
that.
then it's just the way that you make the thicknesses different. It suggests like the overlays from the original RS. So again, still in the same kind of very Mihara way of thinking. At that time, I don't have a sample, but there was also a couple of really great shoes. So one of our designers, Naomi, did a shoe called the MY66, which was like the first time that there was a heel inside of a sneaker. So it looks like a normal Puma Sky sneaker, but the whole thing was like stretched up, and there was
I
a
think I
full-on heel
remember that.
inside. And then
Yeah.
that became a thing after that. Yeah,
It was a
Oh,
retro model, right?
okay.
It was
Go
a
ahead, brother.
retro model, right? It was like a basketball retro
the
model.
Sky Puma Sky 2. Yeah, one of
Sky.
the kind of basketball silhouettes from the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because
Did
it was elevated, like inside, right? It was kind of like a weird, like high heel almost. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's funny.
yeah.
full
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
Ray, did you ever get a chance? Did you solely focus on the design aspect? Did you ever work with like any athletes, Puma athletes, anything of that nature in your division?
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So I first started out doing it in Japan. So being the only designer in Japan for a long time, I kind of was, over here doing all that kind of stuff. I don't have those samples here. Those are all done in my studio. I did a bunch of like soccer shoes, kind of with some of the athletes that time in the Japan national team. Working with some of the golfers over here in Japan. It was only doing golf in Japan, and it became this thing internationally. But once it did become a thing international, because I was already doing it, so Peter Schmidt, the Marshall designer, started doing the first golf shoes. And so those were really cool. And I kind of picked up after that. I don't have the samples here with me, but I did a couple of shoes with Ricky Fowler. He's an American golfer,
Would you
but
follow?
also
Yeah.
quarter Japanese. Yeah. So I went out to LA, visited him, and that's when I went to Arizona, where you guys are. I was making the golf cleats down there with the golf cleats that Barley was talking about.
Ah,
Um,
I
After that, so
know. I know.
there was a couple of shoes. Yeah.
Serena Williams started her career in Puma,
Yes, absolutely.
right? Okay.
Yep. Of
Yep.
course.
Yep.
Yeah, there was big, and they had, yeah, that was, I can't remember exactly. I was never really good at remembering all the apparel details, but some of her initial early apparel was really groundbreaking and kind of eye catching.
Yes, it was.
Speaking of athletes,
Man.
I had done a little bit with Bolt.
Usain
Unfortunately, I never
Bolt.
met him in person, but yeah, like kind of through the sports marketing media area, I ended up working kind of for him things. So did the disc shoe in 2016 that was in the Olympics and stuff. So in the end, the last minute, he turned out he switched out for the laces when he got the gold in that one. That was in the whatever the next Olympics. I think that was I think that was 2016. Um, but Andre de Grasse he got the bronze that time, and he was wearing those disc shoes. He also Bolt was training a lot in these Movium shoes. So the Movium shoe, I don't know if you guys have seen this one.
Oh, that's right.
So this was kind of like 2013 performance running. So it was kind of using the movement of the foot as the foot is moving through the running gait. You have a
Ah,
6% change in length, and so
Smart.
usually shoes are static. It's just a board, right? And so this is the first
right.
time when shoes were kind of like the whole thing was expanding and contracting, and so this even had a rubber band in the bottom that pulled that part of your foot together, which gave you propulsion, not in like a squishy propulsion way, but like mimicking the way the foot gets propulsion and just giving you
Right.
extra of the same thing. So yeah,
Wow.
Bolt was playing with these for a while.
Wow. 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 I
Um,
got a
and
question.
yeah, and
I
these
got
days, because I'm in the innovation team too, so I work with athletes here and there, little by little. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
No, no, no. That's great. I love that you brought up Usain Bolt because during that time, it was an exciting time for Puma because they were working with a cushioning system. I'm trying to remember the name at that time when they introduced it. It was one of my favorite cushioning systems for running. It was before Nitro. It was very similar to Nitro, and it was after Puma introduced
Is
Boost.
is it
It was in,
Cell?
no,
Cell?
no. Puma Cell was like in the late '90s. Oh, I'm trying to remember
Okay.
the name.
There was
Um,
inverse duocell around that time, but that's not. This was 2012.
Wait.
That's not that one you're talking. You're talking about a foam, right?
He said
Ignite.
Ignite.
Thank you, Justin Puma. Yeah, Ignite.
Yeah, Ignite was 2013. Yeah,
Yeah. So Ignite was one of my favorite cushioning systems at the time when I
no,
started
I'm sorry,
running.
2016.
Yeah, yeah, and that was around the same time when Usain Bolt was using that whole thing, right? Which is great. And now we move, years later. And for those that don't know, Puma came out with the Boost technology, and Adidas had the chance, or basically took the
That's true.
technology and ran with it too. So,
Yeah,
so
Puma even
supposedly
had the
Nike,
patent.
Yeah, supposedly Nike had the opportunity to buy it too, but I think Adidas had the better deal or something like that. Um, but
That's
imagine that.
exactly it.
Imagine if Puma would have kept it. You know, maybe if would have had the same success with the boom with the boost. I don't know, but
Wait,
it's really interesting to think about.
speaking of brands, I've heard this rumor, maybe like 3 months ago, is Puma going to merge with Adidas?
There's rumors all over the place. I don't even, I don't know. And even if I did, I couldn't say, but I don't know.
Okay, okay. I just heard that
I
rumor.
mean, there's rumors of a lot of different people like wanting to buy stakes in Puma and stuff like that. It's
Right.
kind of weird the way things go. Right now, the stock dipped, and so people freak out, but things will things will be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yep.
confident. I'm pretty confident. Puma, honestly, right now with what they're doing with nitro and cushioning technology, and they're bringing back some really nice models with the high rocks, you know, with
Yep.
nitro. They're bringing a lot of good
Yep.
models out there for the athlete. You know, they're looking for good performance. I mean, are you doing anything right now with nitro with Puma?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So these days, like what the stuff I'm showing here is more like lifestyle. That was kind of the original stuff, like in the early 2000s and then into the late 2000s. And I kind of shifted into performance, starting with golf and then a little bit in soccer. And then I did a little bit of baseball for Japan, did a whole bunch of running shoes, of course, all the way through. And then, so starting in 2013 with this Mobium shoe, that's kind of when I started working on the innovation team. And then after that, then I did the disc stuff that came out in 2016, the stuff that we were just talking about. And then from then,
Love the
I've pretty
disc.
much been on the innovation team since then. Yeah, I mean, this is I know you like the disc plays. Like, I wish I could say I worked on that. I've worked on versions of it, but yeah, no, these are the modern disc. Yeah, but
Love
so
it.
these days I do mostly performance stuff. So I do a lot of nitro stuff. So there was a shoe that just came out called the Mag Max 2. So a year ago was the Mag Max. It was the Puma's thickest running shoe we've done yet. So I
Wow.
was kind of there's like a production design and there's the initial design and the production design. I did the initial stuff and then the inline team took it and kind of finessed it and made it great for the market and stuff. So I did like the some of the track spike stuff that was in Tokyo, the 2021 that was supposed to be 2020 Tokyo Olympics. So we're under DeGrasse. I think he got a silver then. I did kind of most of the initial stuff on that spike. Um, I don't know, just kind of like just little things that pop up. Like right now, I'm working on some soccer shoes. I was kind of involved in the Future 9 that just came out, the sole of that one, some of the early kind of developments. Being in the innovation team, it's like shadow, very much shadow, kind of the way I was always shadowing of Mihara's, design. You're making stuff, you're spending like a lot of time, a lot of hours and stuff, working on these things, and then in the end, the way they come out, if they come out, the way they come out is not kind of exactly as you made them. But a lot of times they don't come out, or they kind of bleed into other areas, or the technology gets used, and then the upper gets redesigned or whatever. So the last few years, I don't have a heck of a lot to show for what I'm doing. But that's, for me, it's okay. I think it actually works out well. Like when I was young, I had enough stuff that came out and, got attention and whatever. So like, even if stuff doesn't come out, it's not a problem for me. Like just
Right.
to be able to like really push the boundaries and enjoy that part of it for me is satisfying. And then if things come out great, if they don't, then on to the next thing.
Right. Right.
So Puma right now is going in a retro phase, right? I've noticed that they re-released the I'm probably saying this wrong, the Becer, the
Oh, the
Bite,
Bicer. Yeah,
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 Bicer, the Bite, which is the one I was trying to explain to you, go to that looks like fangs. It looks like it looks like a mouse
Yes.
biting you, the
Yeah.
sole.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that one's that's being reissued, right? And there's another one too that's being reissued that's almost like a slip-on. I'm trying to remember around that same era. But what's the purpose behind that? Why are they bringing that back out right now? Are they seeing that other brands are like doing the crazy stuff, so they want to reintroduce the crowd to, hey, we've done it too? Is that what's the purpose of repurposing those or reintroducing those again? Do you know?
yeah. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, they reissue Jordans, they reissue Dunks, they reissue whatever you
Yep.
want, right? So that's just kind of the way it goes. And again, like things always work in a very very predictable 20-year cycle, right? So these are shoes from 20 years ago. So that's why
Wow.
right now you're seeing a lot of focus on Puma design from the early 2000s, because that's, 20 years ago, that was the sneaker industry. I mean, I know the Nike guys and Adidas guys, they're all looking at Puma. Like I've been told this many times. So I think like the Bicer is a great example from that time. That was also designed by Peter Schmidt, the Mastro designer. He
Yeah.
also did the Kugelblitz, the kind with the big ball heel on the back, the real
Yeah,
weird
it
one,
was
and
like
then
a
the
tennis
lizard with
ball.
the toothpicks sole. So that was
It's
those three.
crazy,
That was his
man.
last hurrah as he left, and then he was kind of like, cool, take these, and then he like moved on. But yeah, it's just I think it's the kind of thing that at that time it was ahead of its time, like any of these things were. And then once they kind of come to the next cycle, then people look at it and it's not as ridiculous anymore. So now it's like pretty appropriate. And I
Exactly
think it
right.
does do a good job to tell the story of kind of, hey, remember that that all this kind of stuff happened, and a lot of where modern footwear is, this came from kind of what was going on back then.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Amazing. I'm being conscious of time. We've been here for 55 minutes. I'm being conscious of time. One thing we'd like to ask all of our guests, and this is going to be special for you, is what is your top 5 Puma silhouettes? Whether you
It's a good
worked on
question.
it or just overall, like as a
Yeah.
fan, what's your top 5?
That is a good question. I mean, I don't think I could say anything beyond the Mastro in terms of number one. I think that's just in terms of footwear history. It's it goes up there against any shoe that's ever been made, in my opinion.
yep.
And I would put the Mastro 3D, the one that you were mentioning a few minutes ago, that came out under ASAP
The
Rocky.
ASAP Rocky one?
Um,
Ooh.
yeah, I mean that one is that's from the last few years. That's one of the ones that I would put up in my top whatever list. Whether you want to
Wow.
put that with the Mastro as its own thing separately. Um, I would definitely put the MY7, the one I showed here. I think this is it's not at the time it was wild and ridiculous, and now it's just kind of classic. This is definitely one of my favorite silhouettes. I think in terms of stuff that I've worked on, probably the Mikoshi is still special to me, even though this was one of my first ones. It's just I don't know. There's something that yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of wild and weird, and also kind of traditional and wearable. And I haven't seen any other shoe like this, so
You know
I
what?
would say that
Can
one.
you? I'm sorry. Can you hold that one up again? I want to say something about that.
Yep.
If you just look at it from that, put it from a side angle, yeah, yeah, that speaks Puma. That just looks like if a person never knew about anything about Puma and they see the logo, right? And they see is it a cat paw? Is that the logo? Is it a cat? A
Well,
Puma paw? Is it a Puma paw?
no. I mean, this is the logo here, the form stripe. That's like it originally started from the metatarsals up to the heel as a way of connecting the running shoes. So it's like
Ah,
the four outer lines or the three inner lines. Yeah.
gotcha. I just wanted to simply say that looks like that just speaks as a Puma sneaker, a Puma shoe. Just wanted to say that. Great
It's
design.
nice, man. It's so unique, man. I'm telling you. I'm hoping that everyone that's watching this is gonna now feel a little bit more enlightened that, you know what? Puma really, I think, started this whole crazy, Yeezy style of like craziness, type of thing. Because everyone, not to say that he wasn't a great designer, he had some good ideas, but when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. I wasn't really impressed. That sounds kind of bad, but I wasn't because I knew that I had stuff in the early 2000s. I was like even more
At
outside
this
the box
time.
too. So I'm really glad that we had this chance to really showcase that here today. So thank you.
Yeah.
I broke up. Let's see, you're on number 4, right? I think
He
you're
was
on
on
your
number
number
four.
4.
He was on number 4.
Yeah, yeah, and I was gonna put the Satori in there for sure. I mean, this
Yes,
is
yes,
there's no other shoe that's ever been made like this. And this shoe, Bobby, you can attest to this, is one of the most comfortable, like slipper feeling shoes you'll ever wear.
yes.
Unbelievable.
Holy moly, this was crazy comfortable. And I just love the ways the scales like move to your foot. So it kind of like it was like a samurai. It was based off of a samurai shield, right? Like the
Absolutely.
scale. Right.
Yep.
So it was such a unique design. It looked very reptilian almost too, because of the way it pointed out like a
Yep.
scale. I'm telling you, goatee, I'm gonna show you in person this shoe, and you're gonna be like,
Okay.
holy crap. Yeah.
And that was
So
Okay.
designed
yeah,
by Michael Schaefer, who also designed the K1. Is that kind of weird, like kind of like heel with the egg? It's sort of like a cheese heel kind of thing. It was like
yeah, it has a whole
a water sports shoe. He made Noble, Nobull, the brand. Like that's his thing. Like he's
Oh, that's his
doing really
brand?
well. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then number 5, if I can just I know we're running out of time here. I
No,
think
you're good.
it's probably the one that you were referencing a minute ago, Bobby. It's called the Talon. They're re-releasing it right now. It's kind of
That's the
like the
one.
real, like it's a sock with all these kind of really weird kind of like tribal kind of like rubber parts all over the place. That was designed by Jeff
Yes.
Mikos back in '05, '06. Yeah.
You read my mind. That's exactly the model I was trying to think of earlier. I have a Mahara model that's very similar to that build. On the heel, it has that rubber, like almost scales on the back.
Yep.
It's all white. It has a soccer shoe, and I'll send you a picture after this. But that's the one that reminded me of the Talon. And
Yeah.
I remember in the early 2000s, I had the opportunity to buy it, but then I was like, no, I was already like 20 plus shoes at that one purchase, so I can't do one more. It was crazy. Honestly, it was a crazy time for me, man. Like I was buying like 10 pairs at a time because I knew the store manager at a Puma. He used to order me shoes from LA or the New York, the black stores, the black station stores,
Black Station.
from
Yeah.
those stores. Yeah, and he used to send me those. He used to special order them for me, man. So if you're watching this,
That's awesome.
store manager, like, thank you for all that, man. Like it's crazy. This is like years ago, Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Bobby, before we end, and I know Bobby, this is one of your favorite questions. What's in your rotation? Like what are you wearing? Like what's comfort style? Like what's been in your rotation?
Yeah, I've been wearing a lot of nitro shoes. I don't have
Yes.
them here with me. I have this other one that I've been wearing a lot, which is this called the Experimentation. So this thing never
Oh,
came out. Yeah, so this you might have seen Soleil Bembury had these on his
yeah.
feet for a while.
It looked like his thumbprint.
Yeah. So this was this kind of wild thing with this 3D printed sand mold and all this kind of like wacky thing, and it just didn't make it to production. I've been wearing these around a lot. It's kind of for me the same balance of something ridiculous and kind of like this kind of wild technology, and then something that's super kind of easy to wear and kind of matching everything. I've been wearing those. I've been wearing. So this is Mihara's main line, his normal like
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
MMY Maison Mihara Yasuhiro. So
Yep.
he's doing all these kind of weird, like kind of melted, kind of real fat shoes.
Yep.
Love
Yep.
So
that.
I've been
Yep.
wearing this one a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
And he's got tons of these now. He's really going for it on that in that world.
That's a
And
signature.
then
That's a
besides
signature.
that, absolutely for sure, yeah. Besides that, then I'm just kind of going back and forth with a bunch of like I don't know, kind of classics. Like sometimes I like to wear the 917s. These are from 2008. So this
Oh,
was
whoa!
with
Look at that!
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow!
got a lot of
I have
different
a
It
pair
got.
of those.
It,
colors
I
and
have a pair of
materials
all
and
black ones.
wait a
I have
minute!
a pair.
It
I have a
looks
pair
like
nice.
it
of all
looks like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon vibe.
Yeah, so myself and this other designer called Eva Akamatsu. So in Japan, we had this. This is a shoe that was kind of like motorsport inspired, lifestyle. So it was kind of for like driving, and it had the kind of speed cat toe. And then Eva and I kind of came up with, I don't know where my sample is, this kind of pop art idea. So we're inspired by pop art, and so we just kind of took
Yeah,
that and ran with it, and
that's what
then made a
Justin
whole
Puma
bunch
just
of.
said. Yep.
There we go. There's the pop art. So we were like, yeah, what if you
Whoa!
make a shoe that's like a cartoon, like outlined, right? And then so from
Oh,
there we
that's
went from
hot.
there, we went to here, then we
That's
went
hot.
to like this kind of like manga inspired, manga graphics, kind of textures,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I don't
So
know.
what,
We
what
just
year
kind of
is that?
here's
What year is
Sex
that? What
Pistols.
year? Oh wow, that's
Wow.
cool.
This
What year
is
did those come out?
oh so the first one was '08, and then after that it was '09, 10, 11, 12, something like that.
So there you go. Oh 08, they had that. And now if you look at all the brands that were doing the line art on their shoes, that was way years later. So Puma was already doing
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
for sure.
So there you go. Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
very, very cool.
That's
Wow. No,
crazy.
Ray, man, I'm so glad we did this. I know we've been talking back and forth, and once again, man, thank you for your time. You have a
Yes,
brilliant
sir.
mind. I'm just a big fan of what you're doing. We're definitely gonna, stay connected because if I make another trip to Japan, I definitely want to visit Mahara's store. And if I can meet him, that'd be
You
super
should.
awesome too. Maybe get an
Yeah.
autograph. I have a magazine, with his story on there. So I'm just a big fan of that. It's just nostalgic for me. So,
No
Ray,
doubt.
you've been super
I
great,
can
man.
introduce him.
Thank you. Thank you for
Sounds
the
good.
history. Thank you for the Kickstory lesson on Puma because, like I said, I've been relying on Bobby. Then I'm doing my little research to actually speak to a designer a person who's like knee deep in it. Where we at? We at 20 years? We're 22 years. Yeah, Puma. You been at Puma?
21. Yeah.
21 years. 21 years. So, yeah, man. Thank you for that. This is when we do a cover image. So if you want to choose any shoe, we're gonna choose a shoe and we're gonna hold it up for a couple of seconds just for our cover.
Okay.
All right, let me
Thank you for the
choose one
shooting.
here. I got one. I got one you didn't see. This is part of the 96 hours.
Okay, what you got? You know I'm a Puma Disc Blaze guy, so it's my
Awesome.
favorite. What's that? Ooh,
Yeah.
what's that, Bobby? Wow.
That's where we. I took the last of this one from that shoe because that one has a
Oh,
really nice low wide shape. Yeah.
That's crazy.
there you go. The leather on these are super plush, so we'll hold it for a couple seconds. All right, I think we
All
got
right.
it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this leather, the leather on these are honestly, it's like a Cadillac seat. It's like super
Yeah.
plush, super soft, super comfortable. A
These
nice
are nice.
elastic, strap right here, the Velcro right here, the nice print
I
on
stole
this
this.
here,
I
the
stole this
classic.
strap from that too.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Distant cousins. But yeah, this is great. The sole, the nice gum sole with the nice like Puma. Look at that detail.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's a great
Yeah,
shoe.
I'm telling you, man.
I
Yep,
think
there you
that
go.
was one you talking about what you wear. I mean, back then, I mean, whenever that was like '07, '08, something like that. I
Yeah.
pretty much wore that shoe only for like 3 years. I destroyed like 3 or 4 pairs of those things.
That's
Yeah, they're
crazy.
super comfortable. I don't blame you. Yeah, they're so super comfortable on foot. So yeah, man, Ray, this is a awesome. This was a pleasure.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Once again for your time, and
Thank you
looking
guys.
forward to where you get in the future. We'll stay connected, and
Yep.
believe me, I'm gonna be sticking with my nitros on foot because they're the best running shoes in my opinion out there.
Yep.
So goatee, I'm gonna have to probably buy your pair so you can actually feel the nitro cushioning, man.
You know what? I'm caught up in Nike Zoom X world when I run, so I'm curious to see if Nitro. You've been preaching about it, Bobby. So I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Pause.
All right,
Yep.
there you go. Awesome. Well, Ray,
All right.
Appreciate it,
any
guys. Thanks for your time.
yeah, where can people find you and other projects that can you show? Can you tell us your handles and all the other things that you're doing with your projects and so on?
Sure. Yeah. So on Instagram is the best place. So Ray Horacek Design, RayHoracek. I think it's underscore design. And then, yeah, I mean, I also have like a design consultancy that I run with my brother. It's called Anomaly with all A's, ANAMALY. And that's kind of more like kind of, wearable technology and kind of connected hardware and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, for fine art stuff, you can also on Instagram, it's just my name, Ray Horacek, RayHoracek, without the design on the back. And that's kind of some of my paintings and drawings and that kind of stuff.
Very, very
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Well, there you have it,
Yes.
guys. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. Again, once
Yes.
again, go to kickstreetpodcast.com. Make sure you're following us and subscribe to all of our channels. You can go to kickstreetpodcast.com, see all the channels. Ray, we're gonna stay connected. Goatee, you've been awesome.
Yes.
You've been an awesome student, taking a lot of notes, right?
Oh man, I listen. I got some. I'm so curious. I put some like names down here. I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to you about it as well. And then I think I'm ready for nitros, Bobby. I think I'm ready for nitros. I'm thinking ready.
Same.
I'm thinking ready to run in that. Ray, thank you very much. Happy Monday to you because I know it's Monday right now in Japan. So happy Monday to you. Happy Sunday out, everyone in the states. And happy holidays, right? Happy holidays and happy New Year's and all that good stuff. Continued success, Ray. Looking forward for your imprint and continuous Puma designs and all your endeavors. We'll continue to stay in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much. I love what you guys are doing. I love the energy and I love just spreading the culture and kind of getting behind the scenes. So appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys too. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, have a
All
good one,
right.
guys.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Take
We
care.
out. Peace.
See you later.
Later.